Hi there, it's Karen here and welcome to my new scrap room. I mentioned at the end of my last scrap room tour, if you've managed to make it to the end of the part 2, that I will be changing rooms with my younger daughter, whose room this was, because she and her boyfriend are going to be moving in with us at the end of this month, in fact in about 10 days. And I decided to swap rooms with the other room because that was bigger and it made sense for them to have the bigger room. So the last few weeks I haven't been doing a lot of process videos because I've been busy packing up my scrap room, and then the last 2 weekends we were swapping the 2 rooms, moving furniture and unpacking my room, and it's now all up and running and ready to go. So I thought I'd share with you my new scrap room, which is actually working brilliantly and I'm really pleased with it. So I'm just going to insert some pictures of before and after of the 2 rooms so you can get an idea of the changes that we've made, and then I'll start the tour. Okay, so this is my room as we come in, and as you see on the left is my desk. I'll do a closer up tour in a moment. I'll just give you a little pan round. And there's the window, and there's all my gorgeous units all in a row together, which I love. And I managed to move the create sign into here, or my husband did. And then into the corner there's a cupboard on the wall, and the table with my cameo and my e-bosser. And then on the end here, some shelves, my printer, and this sitting on a cupboard. And that is the room. But I've managed to get just about everything in, which I'm quite amazed about. That's because I managed to get rid of an awful lot of stuff. So I'll start. Yes, I hope that's not making you dizzy going around in a circle like that. So as you just come in the door, first thing on the left is my Alex drawers. I haven't changed anything about them, so I won't go through them again because they are the same as in my previous video. And if I remember to do that, I'll try and link that below so you can have a look if you want to. And then right next to that is my desk. And I've tried to keep this a bit clearer than it used to be. I used to have lots of, well, clutter really at the back of the desk, but I've tried to keep it as clear as I can. So I've got my fan because at the moment we're experiencing a bit of a heat wave here in the UK. It might not seem like a heat wave in some countries, but high 20s and early 30s is pretty warm for us, and it's been going on for a few weeks. So having a little fan on my desk is an absolute godsend. And then one of my lamps there, which because now in the old room the window was above my desk, so the light was fairly evenly spread when I was doing my videos, but now the light is coming, as you can see, from the side because I've got the window to my right. So sometimes there's a bit of shadowing, so I'm finding I need to use that lamp sometimes just to even things out. And that's a frame that scrolls through lots of photos when I'm sitting there, so all the family pop up in front of me, and I've just added a lot of pictures of Alyssa so that she's part of the deal as well. And there's just a few of my tools just on the table ready to go. That's my TV in the corner, which is an essential equipment when I'm scrapping because I do like to have my TV on. And right, so sitting under the window is the Rascog. I don't know if I went into any great detail in my video, but it's mainly got thickers and letter stickers on the top, and a load of stationery on the side, lots of rulers and paintbrushes on scissors on one side, and all sorts of pens and things hanging on the other side. In the middle compartment it's just, well, bits and pieces. It's got at the back there is my sidekick and some small dies. And I've just got some little bits in a box that I just reach for. There's some glue and little bits of stationery. I'll show you, but it's a bit too difficult to go into. It'll take too long to go into any great detail. And then at the bottom is my washi tapes there in the last bottom drawer. So that's my Raskog. And this is where the real fun begins. This is all my units, and this unit here, it is very similar to the IKEA unit, but it's made by Argos, and as you can see, it's a little bit smaller, so it doesn't quite take everything 12 by 12. It takes so it takes these albums, certainly takes the post-bound albums, but it doesn't take very many of the Betty but it doesn't take any Becky Higgins albums. It's just not quite big enough, but it's big enough for quite a few things, so that works quite well. And sitting on top of it, I'll show you. This box here is all my ephemera and bits and pieces for my Canada album, and there's a box here which is all mainly full of 4x6 Project Life cards and some 3x4s. And my photos for Canada as well, because a lot of my Canada album is going to be pocket pages, so I keep those all together. So when I want to do that work on that album, I just reach for this box, and it's got a load of bits and pieces I can use straight away. And this is just a little container which has got some of the larger enamel dots and things like some crystals and pearls and things in larger packs. Don't reach for those very often. That just sits up there, and it's got, as you can see, a few blocks for stamping. Okay, going down one more, and so that's that one. That's all albums. The red album has just got pocket page sleeves that's where I keep them. There's a little 8x8 album I did for my daughter for her 18th, and then you can see there's a couple of boxes. Everything in my room just about is been labelled. I have a Brother label machine which I bought a few years ago, and it's brilliant, and you can buy different coloured tapes. So that's got mini stamps and patterned paper scraps in those two boxes. Right, so I'm sitting down on the stool so I don't bend down very well. So these are all my 6x8 albums. There's a couple of December daily albums here and a few other projects. This one is one I did for my 50th birthday, which there is a process video for, and there's a couple of others that are still sort of work in progress. This one is one I'd really like to get finished one day. It's about a year I spent in Germany when I was a student. And you can see I've done quite a lot, but there's still a lot more photos, a lot more work to do on that one, which I will get back to one day. And down below we've got some A4 card and chipboard letters and bits and pieces, and then just a few folders, and there's an empty album there as well. And just to my left, while I'm sitting down here, I've got a couple of, if I can show you, a couple of 12 by 12 art bins. So this one is full of all my, it's just full of a 12 by 12 paper. It's all the ones that don't belong to kits, and they're just random paper that I bought over the years, and I thought I'd put them all in a box to keep them together. And in this one, this is got a load of kits that I made up when I did a WI evening a few months ago, and these are the leftover kits, and I thought one day I might use some of them. There's probably maybe about 8 or 10 kits in there, so one of these days I'll dip into that and have a go with one of those. They've all come with sketches, so I can go straight for it, so I will probably use those at some point, and I'm just keeping those in this corner out of the way. Sorry about the wobbly camera shake. It's a bit of a tricky little corner here. Now moving on to the IKEA units. This hasn't changed from my first video. So on this side, this is all my 12 by 12 collections. You can see they're all, if I look at them, show you them this way around, they've all been labelled. So this one's Rose Avenue by Kaiser Craft. Some of them are in these plastic folders. This is a Simple Stories one. Simple Stories Beautiful. I've got quite a few of these. I bought some years ago. I don't know if you can see them. They're 12 by 12 plastic folders. They're really useful. Okay, so those folders, I've got some of them. So some of these collections are in those plastic folders, which you can't get them anymore, which is really sad because I find they're really nice. They're quite nice and firm and strong for holding kits together. And so I see I've got a little collection of bits and pieces there. And then on the other side, so this is all collections, and on the other side are some kits, some of which I've put together myself. Like, for instance, there's a Canada kit, which has just got some papers that I'm going to use for my Canada album. These very old Scraptastic kits that I still got bits left of. Hazy Shades of Winter. This one's called Sweet Child of Mine, and I have used most of it now, and I just keep adding to it now because it's basically all the papers that I use for doing, or I will be using, for any baby layouts that I do now that I've got a little granddaughter. I've still kept the label on. It was actually from March 2016 from Scraptastic, so I've just kept, there's a few bits left from the original kit, and now there's lots of extra bits added to it. Now there's a few hip kits here that I've either started or not even, I think I've nearly started most of them. That's the most recent one, that's from June this year. So I'm just keeping them together until I finally, there's not worth keeping anything together. This is called the summer kit, and there's a few, so I've actually collected all sorts of summer bits and pieces, quite a lot of hip kit stuff, but I had anything to do with summer. I thought I'll just stick it in one of these 12 by 12 boxes. I've got quite a few of these boxes. They're quite useful, but you do have to put an elastic band around them, otherwise they just fall apart. The lids don't stay on, which is a bit annoying, so you have to always put an elastic band on them to keep them together. And I've got another one here which has got all Christmas paper, and this has got, I think this is an old Project Life box, and that's got Christmas ephemera in it, Christmas bits and pieces, Christmas stamps and all sorts. So I've decorated it, made it look Christmassy, and that's what I keep a lot of my larger Christmas ephemera in. So it's all kits and collections on that shelf. On the next one, I have got more Christmas stuff. So my Christmas stuff was spread all over the place in the old room. There was quite a lot of it was in a big cupboard that I had built in because it was out of sight because I didn't need it all year round, but that's now been brought out. This is another, it's like a magazine folder with all sorts of Christmas stamps and bits of gold and silver cardstock and some card kit stuff and some papers, all sorts of bits, but anything that's Christmas related in there. Then I've got some A4 card, coloured, white and black, and some vellum. That's all in this one here. That's a folder I made out of I think one of the pizza boxes that we get a lot of things delivered in. I covered it in paper and made that into a folder, or a magazine type holder. And this is another one. This has got my foam, some doilies, some more foam stuff, and a couple of, that's a Zentangle book and a colouring book. So there's not a lot in there, but that's where I put them. And there's some more, that's the foam that I'm using. There's hardly anything left in that bag, it's all bits and pieces. And there's just a few bits in there. Then there's my two drawers, which you've seen before. Top one is all layering stuff. Oh, look at that, Mickey Mouse tissue paper. I've not been to Florida for many, many years, but I don't know where I got this from. It turned up in a parcel, I think. There's loads of tissue paper, and there's some paper napkins that I've picked up. All sorts of stuff in there. And this is my adhesives drawer. So it's all full of different adhesives in that one. And then at the bottom, some albums that are all complete. Well, the purple one, I think actually is an empty one. I think I've still got to use that. It's a big one, and I will get to that one day. Okay, and then back to the top here. This is mainly paper pads. So there'll be the paper pad. So that one is by DCWV, Die Cuts with a View. This one, and then of course once you start using a paper pad, you end up with bits and pieces. So I've got usually odd scraps of paper in one of these plastic folders next to it with all the scraps in it. Then this is my actual scraps box. This is paper scraps. These are, so I've got a small box with little scraps in. This is 12 by, they're not 12 by 12 scraps, but some of them are half of a 12 by 12. So they're large pieces of scraps. So that's how I keep those in there. This is my most recent paper pad that I haven't actually used any of yet. It's the Flourish collection from Maggie Holmes. I think I've got some ephemera as well. And then I've got some white scraps, so bits of white cardstock, because you can always use bits of white cardstock. So I keep a load of scraps in there. And this is all my the full size white cardstock. That's where I keep it in another one of these cardboard containers that I made, and some other plain cardstock. Okay, then the next cube is all about stickers. There's a load of stickers, and a lot of these are puffy stickers. I don't differentiate particularly. It's more about the size, but a lot of these are puffy stickers that I've had in, mainly I get from kits, and there's a few words there. So I just and some buttons. So they've just been popped in there, and then there's some larger ones on sheets here, and this is another one of these magazine holder things. This one is I didn't make, I bought this one, but it's got the larger sort of 12 by, or usually 6 by 12 sheets. That's some Amy Tan. It's a whole collection of bits and pieces. It's hard to kind of move them and not to be too close with the camera, so I'll show you what I can. So mainly just larger sheets of stickers in there. Oh, and here's some more doilies. So that's my little bag of smaller doilies, and a couple of little rubber mats. Oh, and my foam mat, which I use for punching on. And then another cube full of albums, which are, I think these are my 2 Canada albums on the left, and then these 2 albums, I've got one H&G, obviously, Hannah and George layouts, and Jenny and Gary layouts. So there's still room in those to add more to. And in this little bin box thing here, that's mainly just an old sewing bag. That's all full of ribbon and some twine and that kind of thing, which I don't use an awful lot of, but it's all there out of the way. Right. Okay, on top of the unit there's a little drawer unit here, which has got a few old bits of little bits of ephemera that I don't really use. My sister gave me this box years ago and I quite like it, but I don't use it a great deal of stuff that's in it. In here is like a little drawer unit, and it says gold, silver and coloured, and these are those sheets of gold stickers. So I've got gold, silver and coloured. They're peel-offs. Sheets of peel-offs is what they're called. And on the top here in this red basket, I'm going to stand on a stool now so you can see. This is all my I suppose it's called snap album stuff. This is all the 6x8 pocket pages that I use for when I'm doing a December daily album, or all those 6x8 albums. This is all the stuff. I've got loads of a bag of travel stuff that I might use for my Germany album. A lot of my Germany pictures I think are in this box. It's been here for a while. I haven't really come back to it for ages, but one day I will, I hope. And I have got plenty of packets of these pocket pages that I can use. So that's the Simple Stories Snap stuff to go for these 6x8 albums. And here's my mum sitting watching over me. She's been gone 5 years, but I like to think she's with me all the time. Okay, so back down to earth again. Another row of albums. These are the albums I'm working on for little Alyssa. So there she is. She's last time I had this I may have shown you this album, but she hadn't been born yet when I did my previous tour. So yeah, I'm starting to fill that album up. And this one is a ring-bound album that I'm also doing for her. This has got all pocket pages. There are so many photos I couldn't possibly do I couldn't do layouts for all of them, so I'll quickly show you the sort of thing I'm doing in here. So this is the album I'm doing for her. This is the pocket page album. So I'm actually just printing off just about every photo that we get sent. We get sent pictures all the time by WhatsApp usually. So I just print them all off and pop them all in this album. So I'm a bit behind because it's been so busy lately, but this is what I do when I'm not doing the process videos. This is the album that I'm creating, just so that you know why I'm not doing quite as many process videos as you might think of her. It's because there's just too many pictures and I can't keep up. So this is how I'm dealing with it. Okay, this is the next box down, or cube, or whatever you call it, shelf. I've got 3 12x12 boxes here. 12x12 sticker sheets. I don't have a lot, but they're in that box because that's, it's quite hard to store 12x12 sticker sheets. And then I have got a box of Christmas cards. These are the Christmas cards that were sent to us last year, and every year I always make them into the labels, into the past gift labels for next year. So I always keep the cards and then I cut them up and use them as labels. And then in the final box there, I've got some felt, which I don't use very often, partly because I forget it's there. So I've put it all, it was in just a cardboard box, and I've just put it all sorts of bright colours. I put it all in here because I thought, if I see it on the shelf, I might think to occasionally use it, maybe die cut some flowers with it or something like that. And then this box here, it's mainly at the back, has got a load of stamps. These are all mostly acrylic stamps, like this one, the Kaisercraft script, and they're all in these L's, what they call them. I've got the packaging. They're all in these plastic bags that you buy, and I saw it done one. I think somebody did their stamps like this, and it seems a really good way to store acrylic stamps. So that's how I've got them there. So I've got a few of those, and then at the front here is a few packs, ephemera pack that I've done in the same way. Most of my ephemera is now stored by colour, but some of them just felt better to keep them together because they're a bit themey, or they just don't seem like. This one is Maggie Holmes' Open Book, and they're all fairly neutral and quite vintagey in tone, and they don't really go somehow in the ephemera boxes where they're done by colour. These all seem to need to stay together. So I've got a few like that. I've got another crepe paper one. It's all very, very neutral and quite, again, sort of vintagey in tone, and I haven't quite worked out where I want to put them all yet. Some of them I'll have a go at a pack at some point and think, oh no, I'll put those in the colour with the colour stuff, but at the moment they're just staying there. So that's those. And then next one down, I'm going to have to go on my little stool again, so I can get down there. Come with me down to the next level. Okay, this is my dies. So this is my box of dies. Here's my what you call it, ATG, which I thought was broken. I think my husband's fixed it. I'm hoping it's going to work when I do my next layout, so I popped it in there. Hopefully I'll be able to use it again. And so a box of dies. Also, there's a few Sizzix dies in there, but mainly they're a lot of Spellbinders type dies, very thin metal dies in there. And then I've got a lot of the thin metal dies also in these tonic folders. So I've got 3 of those. So I've got 2 here. This is all Spellbinders. This is a variety of miscellaneous dies, including Christmas ones. And then there's another one at the bottom there, my 3rd one, which wouldn't fit in. And that's words, letters and flowers. So I've got 3 of these tonic folders. and they're just sleeves with a magnetic sheet, and so they go in there. Oh, and this purple box, that's a load of card kits. I don't make cards very much. I just popped it under there because it's out of the way. And then the last two boxes at the bottom here, the top one is coloured card scraps. So that's just plain card rather than the patterned paper scraps. This is plain card scraps, which sometimes I use for either cutting things out or for layering. And right at the bottom is a box of stamps. They're mainly wooden stamps and rubber stamps, and I don't reach for them a great deal, but they're there at the bottom of the unit. Okay, so, and this is just a die that this is one I do use quite a bit. This is stamp set, which is really nice letters, which I've just popped in there so I can get at it easily, and it doesn't fit in any of the other boxes. Okay, this is where I'm now storing most of my mixed media stuff. I did have it originally, I don't know if you remember, I had all my mixed media in these two floral drawers, but I decided it was too heavy because when I was trying to pull the drawers out, it was really weighing it down. So I've had a bit of a change round. So I've now got the mixed media stuff, or not all of it, but most of it. Certainly all the mists and sprays and things. So I've got all my mists and Heidi Swap bottles here. At the back, there's a lot of, these are more some of the Shimmers products that I've got from Hip Kit colour kits. So that's a Shimmers one, Spritz. And they're all in this box at the back here. And there's a few acrylic paints as well that I've also had from kits. These are, it's not full this one, these are some Cosmic Shimmer Pearl PVA, coloured PVA, what you can make pearl drops with and stuff, and they're just sitting on a little shelf at the back there so I can see them. And then here is just all the gesso, so there's the gesso and the clear gesso at the back, and underneath is my modelling paste, and behind the modelling paste is the beads, that come in a sort of glue that I use sometimes through stencils. So that's the that part of my mixed media, all the sort of sprays and things. So this drawer unit now, I thought, well, it kind of speaks for itself. I filled it with flowers. It seemed to make sense, and of course they're much lighter. So this top drawer is now full of gorgeousness. It's full of, I've been buying a lot of Prima flowers lately. You may have noticed on some of my layouts I've been going a bit flower crazy. So I've got loads of packs of really gorgeous Prima flowers in here, and I'm a bit mad really. I've got quite a lot of packs of flowers. I probably won't buy any more for a while. I really shouldn't, because I think I've probably got enough. So that's all the so these are all, I think they're mainly paper flowers, but they're really pretty. I mean, look at these. These have all got all glittery and beautiful. So I shall be aiming to use those in my upcoming layouts. And the next one down is, this drawer is never very easy to open. Just one moment. Okay. So this is now got lots of little boxes. They were originally on one of my shelves in the old room, but I've put them in this drawer. These are boxes of little tiny paper flowers. They're the ones that usually come with a hole in the middle and you can put a brad through them, or if I can try and open this one one-handed. There we are. So you can see these are little tiny flowers, and I've got all sorts of so they're all done by colour, approximately the same colour as the box, but it doesn't quite always work out like that. But these are called the really useful boxes, and I have loads of these in different sizes. But it's quite nice to have the flowers in the ones that match the colour. So they're all labelled up by colour, as you can see. And they go right to the back there. Oh, there's just a pile of glue, what they call them, foam dots, that I had a whole pile of that I thought I just popped in the back there. But the rest of it is all flowers. Okay, so that's that drawer. Going down, this little shelf has got, there's one album there, on the right, but these are all these are ring binders, so they're sort of more of an A12 size, and they've all got different things in. So this one is my folder for my masks. If you can see it, there we are. There's one. I've got them all in plastic sleeves, and I've backed them all with some colour paper so I can see what they are. So that's all my masks are in this folder here. Then I've got one, let's see if I can get that. Okay, that's going back in there. So I've got one for some templates that I had, some layering templates. One is for sketches, so then there's the masks, and then another one is for inspiration. There's not a lot in there at the moment, but if I see, I've got a few, sometimes I see an inspirational layout on the website or on Pinterest or something like that, and I'll print it off and I can put it in there to look at if I need a bit of inspiration, which I often do. And then just at the bottom is my creative station, which is like it's a Xyron. It's like the sticker maker, only in a giant size. It's 9 inches across, and there it's got some cartridges there, some of which are adhesives, and there's a laminating cartridge. Don't use it very often, but a bit like some other things, when it's more accessible, I'm more likely to use it. So that is my IKEA Kallax unit, all full and ready to go, and I'm really pleased with how that's been. It's really been used to its max, I think, this time, more than even before. This is the the other set of Alex drawers. This is the narrow set, the one that's not on caster, so it's a bit of a pain to move when it's full. And just on top, I've got a little container here with some scraps of paper, which I used to keep on my desk, but I think I'll just keep it here out of the way, so it's not, try and keep the clutter down, as I mentioned before. This little bag usually has my little zip printer in it, but that's downstairs at the moment because it's not working, and I need to sort of see what I do about getting that fixed. 6x6 paper pads at the back here is where they were before, and there's just some little box of photos and some folders with some photos in, things that I'm going to be using in the near future, hopefully. Then I think I did go through these drawers, but some of them have changed, so I'll just go through the top few very quickly of these. This one is called New Packs, and that's any new packs of ephemera and bits and pieces, and there's not a lot in there really, and most of them have been open. There's a box of chipboard baby pieces that I had for years, which I've broken into finally. Yeah, there's not a lot in there really. So I haven't been buying an awful lot lately, so I haven't got new packs to put in there. This is my new mixed media drawer. So as I mentioned, the tall things and the bottles are in there, and all the little pots of things that will fit are in here. So there's some dimensional paint, some glitter texture paste. There's my 2 Heidi Swap gold and silver texture paste there. There's a few of the little creamies and the inklings. These are the Shimmers products that come in some of the colour kits. So there's the Shimmers there, and then there's a creamies one in there. There's a few little pots of Flower Soft, which I haven't used much lately, but that's quite nice. It's like little tiny bits of, I don't know, bits of paper, but that can make quite a nice bit of texture. All my Nuvo drops are arranged along here because they just fit. Excuse me. And all my pots of acrylic paint. These are the ones I inherited from my daughter. At the back there, because I've been doing a bit more painting on my layouts recently. And this one, there should be another one of these somewhere. Oh yeah, right, there it is. This is called Pixie Powder, or I call it Pixie Dust. It's by Cosmic Shimmer, and that really is lovely. I must use that again soon, because that makes quite a nice effect. So I've got a pink one and a turquoise one, or peacock green. This is my drawer called Bling, for obvious reasons. Sequins and shiny stuff and brads. There's a load of brads there, and all sequins, and a few pots of glitter as well. This is kind of quite thick glitter, which I don't use very often. This is old photo paper in there. This is the only other one that might be of interest. This is my all the ephemera by colour. So as you can see, I'm using these aren't the original iris. I think I've got one box of iris, which I bought when I was in Canada, and I went to Michael's. Very excited about that. But all of these come from Amazon, and they're by Art Bin, and they're still the same basic shape. They're the 4x6 photo boxes, and you can get them from Amazon, and they're by Art Bin. So I've used a load of those to do my ephemera by colour. So that's that drawer there. All the other drawers are a bit boring. And across here is the table with my Cameo and my eBoss. So this is the die cutting and embossing electronic machine that I use. Don't use it very often, but it's one of those things, it comes and goes. I'll have a I go through periods when I want to use it, and then I don't use it for a long while. Underneath the table I've got a few things stashed under here. So there's a trolley and a couple of bags that I use when I go on retreats. That's about the only time I use them. Or an all-day crop, which doesn't happen very often. There's a bag with a load of 12 by 12 plastic sleeves in. That's the bag I use to go to my weekly club, and it's got a trimmer in there and a couple of bits that I use all the time and just leave in there. And then I've got this box. What is it called? It's like a fold. It's a box with compartments, and it's all full of, mostly full of wood veneer, which I don't very often remember again to reach for, but they're there when I need them. There's not a huge amount in there, but that's where I keep them, and a few other odd bits as well. But it's mostly wood veneer. So that just slides in here. Okay, we're nearly there. Cupboard above, it's just full of all my old photographs in there, photo albums back to for many years, and they've all gone in there. And then we're over to the shelves. The shelves has mainly got at the top empty boxes and baskets. Just on the left there, it's some Christmas stuff to do with Christmas wrapping, or there's a few embellishments in those little boxes there. On the second shelf, tiny little sewing machine. I've never used it, but I bought it for £5 from a charity shop, and so one day I might use it. There's a box with some oddments in, little projects that I've just left in there, so I can go back to if I want to. This basket has got all the packaging. When I do mixed media, I just keep some packaging and pop it in there. And there's a little vase that I use for putting water in when I do my watercolouring. My one and only Erin Condren planner. That was last year's planner. I've just had the one, and I did like it, and I might go for it again. But I've been trying different planners to see which one I get on with the best. So I do like that. I might go back to that. And then there's a few DVDs to how to make things there. And then on this shelf here, there's some boxes of various types of ephemera. As you can see, they're all labelled. You can see what they are: chipboard shapes, some bits and pieces, some journaling pads. Got a box of numbers. Got my pro markers, buttons, and some words that were die cut. Here's the enamel dots. That's not labelled because they kind of speak for themselves. It's pretty obvious what's in there. And this is my box with all the bits or the kit that I put together for my 50-week project. Here it is. I'm still working on it. It's there. The album is filling up. I'm still doing a little layout every week. I might do a flip through of that to catch you up with that at some point. I'm not doing them as process videos now, so I might do a bit of a flip through. It's getting a bit thick though. I'm not sure. I'm hoping it's all going to fit. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. Okay, next, and then there's my printer, and there's a cupboard that it sits on, which is full of stuff. It's mainly full of boxes of photos. I'm not going to show you in there. It's not very exciting. It's just basically full of things that I can hide away that don't need to be on display. So there we are. We're back to the beginning. So thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this tour. I'm really loving my room. As you can see, my chair is there and the unit is there, and I can sit on my chair, I can twizzle round, and I can virtually reach for anything I want now, because everything is so much closer together. It's actually really quite nice. It's a bit lazy, I know. So everything is ready to hand, and I'm really finding it works very well. I think the only thing is that this is a very warm room. This is probably the warmest room in the house because it faces south. As you can see, it's actually not a very bright day today. That's why this room gets pretty unbearable. Can do. So that's the only downside, but apart from that, it works very well. And I do miss my sofa that I sit on. I used to sit on sometimes in my old room, but I can get over that. It works pretty well for what I need. So, thank you for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed it.